What is up, MSF family? GoofyRhexxi here, and hope everybody is doing well this week. And welcome, guys, to the Week 15 Weekly Headliner Update. Now, if you are new to the Weekly Headliner Update, this is where we talk about what is upcoming this week in Marvel Strike Force, and then we recap some of the important topics from the previous week as well. Now, this week on the Weekly Headliner, we had a Flash event that's going to be returning this week, so we're going to talk about that. We have a Legendary that is going to be going permanent, which I think is very exciting, for newer players in this game. We have some more information on the Falcon and the Winter Soldier event, and it looks kind of meh, if you ask me. We also had a lot of blunders from the previous week, just a lot of just mistakes and things that happened that, in my opinion, definitely should not have. And we got that and so much more, guys, to talk about in this week's Weekly Headliner, and we are starting right now. Welcome back, guys. And if it's your first time coming to the channel here and you would like to see some more Marvel Strike Force content, then consider hitting that subscribe button. Also hit the notification bell so that you will know when my videos do go live. There's also a few other links down below in the description. One to my Twitch page. I stream Marvel Strike Force content weekly. And then there's also a few other links, my Discord server, and a few other social links as well, where you can connect with me outside of my streams and outside of my YouTube videos as well, guys. But let's dive into the first topic of this week. We're going to talk about our blitzes. I want to talk about the one that's going to be happening on Thursday. So Thursday's blitz is going to be for Mr. Sinister, which, listen, I welcome this very much. Mr. Sinister is in the War Store. The War Store is crowded. Understatement. It's a crowded area. You got G13 mini UEs in there. You got G14s. If you can't get to the Doom campaign, you're probably grabbing some of those, right? You got G15s that are in there. Then you have like a buku ton of characters that's in the War Store. So Mr. Sinister is one of them, right? You need there's a bunch of characters in the War Store that you need to farm for legendaries, right? So Mr. Sinister is a good character, man, that you can use for Dark Dimension. You can use him in Arena. You can use him War Defense. If your Marauders aren't doing well, if you're struggling for War attack teams, you can use the Marauders on offense. Listen, man, he has a lot of value. So I'm going to be going pretty hard on this blitz. I take it that maybe some late game players, I'm hoping, listen, late game players, take a break, all right? Take a break. Hoping some late game players here will not be blitzing as hard, for Mr. Sinister. We got some numbers here. I wanted to kind of take a look at what the predictions will look like. Now, I'm using comps from Scream. Now, this Scream comp is from, obviously she's unfarmable, so this is going to be a little bit different, right? But Scream was during the event, the Moon Knight event, I believe. I believe it actually was going on as well with the Silver Surfer Dark Matter Milestones event. So numbers were definitely going to be a little bit higher here. You can see top 1 to 100, 46 mil, 34 mil. Numbers were just relatively high, where that's concerned. But I think there's a potential chance that they won't be too far from this. The prediction numbers are going to be coming out on Thursday, so that should help you with some planning here in regards to where you should probably shoot for. I'm probably going to shoot for probably 26 mil or so. That should give me enough shards. But yeah, I mean, I definitely can see, more players, kind of being a little bit more attentive, in this blitz. So probably gear yourself up. And listen, you got an opportunity to take a break tonight, because tonight's blitz is going to be Nebula. And Nebula, I think, is going to be the first character, or the first thing that we talk about here on the installment for me of things that no one wanted, right? Nebula is the blitz that no one wanted. That's happening tonight. But listen, get your milestones, get your 300K gold. Chill out after that, guys, because nobody wanted that blitz. But that's happening tonight. This one is happening on Thursday. So do your planning, guys, so that you can get those shards that you want from Mr. Sinister. All right, and we also got a Flash event rolling back around this week in the Payday event here. I like Payday because it gives you gold, and that's just straight up just what it is, guys, right? Gold is a huge bottleneck in this game, especially with the introduction of level 75 to level 80. It's been just really tough, right? Trying to push characters up to G15. There's a lot of gold to be able to do that. So get yourself prepared. Mercs are the characters that you need, to be able to get this done. I'm going to actually, pan over to not this one here, but I'm going to pan over to a Flash event infographic, which is created by Dr. Chaos and eBombay. Shout out to you guys so much for, using this infographic here, but it lists out the Merc characters that you can use. You know, obviously the best ones are Taskmaster, Merc Lieutenant, Merc Riot Guard, you know, Deadpool, even, you know, Killmonger for the event specifically, you know, but Deadpool on the X-Force team, you can use them to unlock Doc Ock later. Killmonger, you know, you can get the utilization out of being able to use them in 2 Flash events, you know, for Chaos Theory, and also, of course, you know, your Payday event. Taskmaster is good, but some earlier players might not be able to get him because he's pretty late, right? He's Doom 3-9. You're probably not going to be able to get there. Merc Lieutenant is available pretty early, you know, and Merc Riot Guard is in the Blitz store. Bullseye was also, he also had a Blitz last week, so you might already have some shards for earlier players, right? Someone like myself, I'm pretty good to be able to get through the event here. You know, this infographic is in my Discord, so do take a look at it. I think this will help you in terms of your planning because it gives you an idea too of what you need for recommended levels, you know, gear tier levels, abilities, etc. So plan that out, guys. It's a very important event that happens every month, so you definitely want to, you know, try to push towards doing this. There is going to be a double drop event for the characters that are in campaign nodes this week. Merc Mayhem, that should be rolling around sometime soon. For your double drop, it's a double drop event. For your double drop events, I always recommend don't farm once you log in for the day. Don't farm, you know, your characters don't farm the Merc characters until you get to that offer reset time. That's usually when the double drop events go live, so as you can farm it once that time, and then when your daily reset happens the next day, then you have another opportunity at the double drop so you can farm those Merc characters again. So hopefully that makes sense. I always do a terrible job of explaining it, so if you guys have any questions, just leave it in the comments, and I'm gladly will be willing to clarify what I was saying there. All right, and this was a nice, very welcome sort of surprise, right? You know, Lunar Festival calendar. So this calendar, you know, is compensation for what happened, you know, during the Lunar event. As you can see here, over a 14-day period, these are the things that you're going to be getting, you know, from this calendar. You got some G15s, you got some Elite 5s, and you got this one right here at the very end, which should only reward you with a 5 red star character that's not a minion. So that's actually a pretty big one. Now, hopefully, you know, I'm not going to get a character like Karnak at 5 red stars or Quake. The sadness of that field to have those characters at those high red stars on my roster. Oh boy. But yeah, hopefully you'll get something good for it, you know, at day 14. You know, you'll probably, hopefully you might be able to get this in time for when Polaris actually gets released in offer. So hopefully it'll be proved to be a little bit more valuable for you then. But do like that this came in. The G15s are helpful. Even if you're an earlier player and you're not going to be using these G15s now, you're going to need them later on. So bank them, save them. You'll definitely need them later on. But this was a very nice welcome, you know, received gift. Thank you, Scopely, for doing this. And this week, we found out how Polaris is going to be released into Marvel Strike Force, and she is going to be released via the Strike Pass, our new Strike Pass here. Now, obviously, that's going to be 15 days from now, we think, right? Because that's when the Silver Surfer Strike Pass is going to be done, and most likely, we're assuming that Polaris is going to start right after that. You know, sometimes they do take breaks with the RTA Pass, so we'll see what happens specifically here with the Strike Pass, but I don't know how I feel about this yet, to be honest with you. I think what I kind of felt a little bit worse about was for free-to-play players, right? So you're not going to have an opportunity to gain any shards for Polaris until 15 days from now. And then you're not going to be able to unlock Polaris because these are 45 shard unlock. You're not going to be able to unlock her until the very end of the event. So you're essentially going to be waiting 40, 50 days before you are able to unlock Polaris. So I don't know, man. There's a lot of free-to-play players or players who don't spend on offers that have been playing this game for 700, 800, you know, 1,000 plus days. I don't know how valuable a 2-star character is going to be on their roster. I know Blitz, you are able to probably, if you're a later game player, probably at least able to get 3, maybe sometimes 4 shards, you know, for a character if you blitz hard enough, right? Because you get 2 blitz events. I don't know, man. I think personally, this is just one of those, I don't know. I think they had some success, obviously, with Silver Surfer, so they're trying to do it, you know, with Polaris. I don't know if this was their original idea of releasing this character, but I thought I made this observation as well too, right? For the Strike Pass, for players who are willing to spend, you're essentially going to max out again the character to 5 stars if you buy all of the offers, right? So if we're following the model that we saw with Silver Surfer, you had the $20 offer for 50 shards. You could buy that twice. Then you have the $50 offer or $60 offer for 50 shards, like that offer there. So you're able to get her up to 4 stars. And then if you go through the strike pass again, and buy the premium version of it, you're going to be able to get, 310 shards that you need in order to be able to get that character to 5 stars, which then means that you're limiting, players who are willing to spend to only be able to have a 5-star character. Now, this could be different. They could actually include orbs with the Polaris offer this time. They didn't do it with Silver Surfer. Obviously, Silver Surfer, Polaris, we know Silver Surfer is the better character, right? So we don't know if they're going to be doing that specifically with Polaris, but I don't know. I don't know if I like the strike pass option. I think Blitz for certain characters, they're trying to go away from that because obviously we complain about it a lot, but I feel like they're limiting shards a little bit too much at this point, because I don't know, unless you're able to get Polaris to 5 and 5, she probably won't necessarily be great for late game content. Well, maybe 4 and 4 is okay. Silver Surfer is great at 3 and 4, but it is Silver Surfer. I don't know if it's the same, for a character here like Polaris. So curious to know what your guys' thoughts are, with Polaris being released, via the strike pass. Let me know, guys. Curious to hear your thoughts. All right. And this week or this time last week, right, we talked about, Magneto being a legendary that's going to be released this week. So I made it Magneto and Doc Ock this week in the weekly headliner. And then that was a lie. They made me a liar, guys. So Scopely, they admitted that this was actually not intentional. We recently sent an inbox message with a preview for the Magneto Legendary event. This messaging unintentionally went out early as this event is intended to be April 26th. And the preview will be starting on April 21st. We'll be taking down his preview. In the meantime, we will have additional information coming for this legendary event as well in the Friday's blog. So we apologize for the confusion. So this is one of those things, once again, where this is kind of the third legendary now that they've announced, and then they said, nah, psych, this is completely different though, right? So we gotta diversify, our critique here. This is just one of those things where it's like, bro, pay attention to what you guys are doing. I'm assuming that this was probably on a timer, right? And they just didn't cancel the timer, and that's the reason why it went out. Either way, they can't necessarily get the benefit of the doubt anymore because they have repeatedly done a lot and made a lot of these mistakes, in my opinion. So I don't know. I still find Magneto to be impactful. I think that a lot of earlier players are still going to find a lot of usage for this character. Even later game players or mid to early late game players like myself, I found a lot of value, with Magneto. BH 2.0 team is a very solid team, in my opinion, that I could use to punch up on some other, unit or other, squads, in war. And this does give, earlier players a little bit more time. There were some players who were messaging me saying, hey, I'm not going to be able to unlock Magneto. This does give them a little bit more time in order for them to be able to unlock Magneto. Also in the blog post, they mentioned how Magneto is going to also be a character that's going to be released. Legendary event is going to be more frequent, like Invisible Woman's, because Invisible Woman's event, as we know, she's going to be rolling around a little bit more often, so there's going to be like a double legendary event going on at time. So Magneto is going to be another one of those characters that's going to be introduced into that. So I think that overall, this is going to be okay moving forward. But the initial mistake of this, I think, was somewhat big. Not as big as a character like Black Bolt, but definitely Magneto. I found this is probably wasn't necessarily the best P's and Q's check, for Scopely again. All right, y'all. Another one of the blunders that happened this week was Alliance War. And so this happened, right? Zone 4 could not load. I'm in Zone 4, so I couldn't get into war. It took probably about an hour or so, or it probably was longer, but I don't sleep much, so sometimes I lose the concept of time. But the point is, this was down for a good decent amount of time here. And it's old content. I don't understand why old content, you can't get old content to work. This was uber frustrating because I like war. I personally like war. I like being able to get in there. I get to use some of the teams I don't get to use, throughout the week. I get to use my Zemo, who's always banned in RTA now. I get to use my BH 2.0 team. I get to use some other teams, guys, that I don't typically get to use on a day-by-day basis. You know, and I was sad. I was a little sad, y'all, not being able to go into Alliance War. And then also, what is this? What is this $29.99 thing right there? I didn't understand that at all either. I hope you're not gonna try to charge us for doing war now. You better not, Scopely. You better not. But this in conjunction with also War Warrior milestones, that players couldn't get their War Warrior milestones as well either. That was another really weird thing. I don't know what's going on, guys. This is the second one of their blunders this week, and trust me, there's a lot more that we got to go through. The next thing that happened, guys, yes, Multiple Man was released. His offers were in the store on Monday, but you know what wasn't available in the store? Him and the Red Stars initially. For about 20 or 30 minutes or so, Multiple Man was released, and he was not in the boosted drop rates for Red Stars. I don't know why I'm laughing. It's not funny, but it's just, what else can I do at this point? Nothing seems to make anything change. This just seems very simple. This is like the third or fourth character that's happened with now. Emma Frost, Iceman, you know, now Multiple Man. It's crazy. Scopey, what is going on? And I think this right here, this post from Dragonair, you know, FA kind of summarized it all. He's not showing up in any of the Red Star orbs for me. How does this keep happening? Scopely, how? How does it keep happening, Scopely? We don't know. We don't know. And, you know, like it took about 15 or 20 minutes or so for them to sort of like rectify it and then fix it. And then he was in there, you know, and some players got some good drops. As an overall character, Multiple Man seems okay at best to me, kind of like a meh character, but he does do his job, though. I will say this. He does do his job. He keeps the Dabros alive. You know, if you're using him some other comps, I heard like Phoenix, you know, if you have too many dupes on the field, you know, Phoenix may not res because he run out of spots. So be careful with that one. It seems pretty hard to, you know, kind of have a replica of that happening, but it did happen to me in the event campaign for him. You know, when I was using him in one of those events there, I had like Multiple Man, and, you know, I had Minerva, and I was trying to revive one of my characters, and Multiple Man's dupe was there, you know, so therefore I couldn't res my character, and I was able to 3-star. I had to go back in. I almost cried a little bit, guys, but, you know, I was able to get through it mostly. And that's another thing too, guys. That's another thing too. For the Multiple Man event, his event went live. His event went live. The event campaign went live on Friday, and then this happens. As the title says, the event is rewarding Infiltrator Orbs. Infiltrator Orb fragments. How? It's just a simple check, right? A simple, minuscule check. Hey, let's just make sure that we're showing the right orb fragments here and make sure that we're getting the super sloop fragments, but that was not the case. I don't know why I expected anything more from Scopenex. I hear you. Mamuza Altor, I hear you. And I feel for you, brother. I feel for you. We also got a new season for RTA as well, and there was a lot of changes that happened with this new RTA format. So wanted to kind of just go through that and sort of just give my thoughts on, you know, what I think about the new changes there. So Mojo's Mayhem Season 5, and the updates for the season are as follows. Objective, revise select objectives to increase flexibility in how points can be earned throughout the season. Reduce weekly KOs from 200 to 225. Reduce weekly trait ability objectives from 450 from 550. Remove weekly character objectives. Rebalance points to emphasize daily objectives. Redistributed points to be more generous for early objectives. And then, of course, kind of like the same things, you know, that they always feature. Now, this week's RTA is going to be Red Guardian. I personally think Red Guardian's he's a usable character, right? I think for Doom raids, a lot of players are using Red Guardian right now. I'm not like overly excited. I do know that you're going to need him for that new Flash event, right? Where you're going to be able to get those training mats, you know, so I do think that he's going to be valuable there. But this event too, when it first started, first of all, we didn't get this in the blog post. We didn't know that Red Guardian was going to be a character featured. We didn't think RTA was going to start because it didn't mention it in the blog post at all. So we only got the in-game mail. And then when it was pushed through, you couldn't get into RTA right off the bat. You had to kind of like restart the client in order to be able to get it to work. And then when you restarted, the bands weren't there too. So that was another thing that just seemed, you know, fairly sort of just weird again. So another one of those little blunders that, you know, happened throughout the week. And I don't know. It's this they need to take a step back. I keep on saying this. Stop releasing characters, guys. Take a step back. Fix the QA problems. Make sure that you get these things in order first before you start releasing new characters, because this does not look good. You got to make these changes here. Now, in regards to the way that they've changed the objectives, I find it to be okay for me. Right? Because removing the characters, actually, I think that helps out everybody. Removing the character requirements, I think, helps out everyone, right? Because a level 64 player, level 65 player probably doesn't have White Tiger, probably doesn't have, multiple man, probably doesn't have those newer characters in the game, right? So not having to use them, I think, is helpful. Reducing it to where you can just use a hero character, a villain, a tech. It gives you a little bit more options here for you to be able to theory craft and then put together some teams. There's more emphasis on knockouts, for your dailies. So it does make it a little bit easier in terms of being able to get abilities off. Where you might struggle a little bit if you are a newer player is probably now having to, or just player in general, is having to now do more of your dailies as just going through all of your weeklies. So for me, I used to be able to get my weeklies done in like 2 or 3 days, right? And then I can kind of just chill out and not even worry about my dailies. Now, the way that this new format is, you're going to have to do pretty much all of the weeklies and then do some of the dailies. That's pretty much basically how this kind of breaks down in terms of points now. You have to do all the weeklies. Well, at least at a bare minimum, you kind of got to do most of the dailies too in order to be able to get it done. You are still able to get, I think, like 33 objectives done if you do all dailies and if you do all weeklies. But still, it's kind of one of those things where you kind of have to do more work now in RTA. Maybe I'm viewing this wrong. What are your guys' thoughts, on this new RTA sort of like format? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Is it going to be helpful for you? Leave it in the comments, guys, and let me know. All right, and stepping into the blog post here, guys, some more information that we got about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier event. So Army roster with sky-high rewards of Falcon and Winter Soldier event. Join Falcon, Winter Soldier, and their team as they try to stop Red Skull from creating a multi-dimension Hydra army. The event campaign energy. Use heroic duo energy to participate in the mini event campaign to earn gear, ability materials, and more. Heroic duo energy refreshes 1 energy every 48 minutes. What? And the cost to refresh starts at 250 power cores. What? And what? Like, seriously, what? What are we doing here? You can earn more energy through the Honor the Shield milestone event. Then they had this mini event campaign requirements. You have to use Falcon, Winter Soldier, Captain America, and also Baron Zemo. I think most, if they have Baron Zemo, have definitely invested into him. Captain America, so to a certain extent, yes, if you're a newer player. And of course, later game players too do use Wave 1 Avengers on defense. And Falcon maybe potentially might have some decent investment on your roster. Now, Winter Soldier may not, because he's not a great character. He's not very good either. So he's not good either, in my opinion. So you may not have, investment there. Now, I think originally while reading this, I think we thought that the minimum level requirements that they're mentioning here actually had to do with the character levels. But I think that this has to do with the player levels, right? So I think Mission 1, you have to be at least level 50, Mission 2, level 65, and then Mission 3 being at level 75. Now, I don't know why they would limit, the missions themselves by character level. If you can do it, then you can do it, right? If you can't, then you can't. Is this supposed to be a fun event, right? This is supposed to be an event that kind of just coincides with the Falcon and the Winter Soldier show that is active right now, on Disney Plus. So limiting the player level seems kind of counterproductive, in my opinion. It's supposed to be a fun event. And then recommended stats for each character. They kind of list that out here, 5 stars, 2 reds, gear tier 9, ability levels. They kind of do this for every event, typically. So you can kind of look at that there. Star Tech 15. Most later players are going to have Star Tech maxed out, or at least pretty close to maxed out. They broke that the Honor the Shield milestone, hit 2-day milestones to earn heroic duo energy and catalyst parts. Earn the most milestone points by using the mini event campaign characters in Blitz and Alliance War. So there's other areas where you can use the characters too, or by participating in raids with any character. So that's kind of similar to some of the previous events that we've seen. And then also earn more points in Blitz and War if the event characters are gear tier 13. and above, and 5 stars and above. Too much, guys. Too much. And then we took a look here at the what it looks like at MSF.GG. There's already, you know, some sort of a breakdown of some of the event itself. I looked at the max one. I'm like, okay, I got to get Winter Soldier probably close to gear level in order to be able to do this event, right? Since you're only going to have 4 characters. And I looked at the rewards and I'm like, bro, this doesn't entice me, right? I don't know how these are going to be distributed, how many times you're going to be able to farm this stuff. But based on what I'm seeing here, this is the mission 3 version of the event. I'm not enticed by any of the rewards here whatsoever. The characters that you have to fight, wave 2, a 95k crossbones at gear tier 15, you know, a Squirrel Girl, you have a Zemo here. I don't know, man. I'm just not like really into this event. What are your thoughts, guys, on the event? I just feel like it's another way that they're going to obviously throw out some offers here for you to get energy and stuff like that too. I don't know. This is supposed to be a fun event. It just seems like another way that they're trying to milk money from players. I don't know, bro. Like, this is supposed to be something fun that I feel like they ultimately kind of just took the fun out of, you know, in my personal opinion. Now, some other things in the blog post here that obviously I liked: returning Legendary event, you know, with Phoenix. She's going to be rolling around on the 19th. I think she's a great character. Very, very good in my opinion. They also mentioned Shuri being a permanent Legendary. That's going to start on Tuesday, or actually today, you know, of this week. So I like that. I think for earlier players, Shuri is helpful. Not great, but I think helpful, you know, because you're going to be able to have, you know, her available to do your chaos theory a little bit earlier. I think that's important, you know, and we always recommend going after Sinister 6 anyways as one of your early beginner teams, you know, to be able to use them in the villains campaign, but even more so to be able to unlock 2 legendaries in the Invisible Woman, and of course, you know, Shuri. So I do like that she is going to be a permanent Legendary. Magneto, as we talked about already, he's going to be going on the repeating Legendary event rotation, you know, kind of as that double Legendary event, you know, that's going to be happening with the future with Legendaries, some of the older Legendaries in the game. So I do like that they're doing this with Magneto, but I don't know, man, like the Flash, with Falcon and the Winter Soldier event, in my opinion, I thought it kind of ruined something that was supposed to be fun, you know, but we don't know exactly what it's going to look like yet. So we're going to have to wait to see exactly what the event looks like in game. We only have the MSF.GG stuff right now. So hopefully things look better moving forward, but this is kind of where it's at for me right now, guys. What are your thoughts on pretty much all the subjects that we just went through this week? You know, I think, like I said, MSF, you guys got to slow it down, fix these bugs, try to make the game fun again so that players can really just enjoy it and have a good time. You know, I think that you're focusing too much on releasing characters. And I think ultimately at the end of the day, you know, that's just not good enough from a player base, especially players who are spending money in this game. But listen, appreciate you guys watching the video. Y'all be blessed and y'all be safe.